Have you ever wanted to be a basketball player or a farmer or an adventurer? Well, with video games, you can. Today, I'm going to talk to you about these magical creations that have shaped the world today. We're going to talk about 3 points today. First off, we'll talk about the past and where video games came from. We'll talk about the present and where video games are now, and the future of video games and where things are headed. To start off, in 1940, a man by the name of Edward Condon created a game called NIM. Well, he didn't create the game, but he created a computerized version of it and gave it to the World's Fair. According to the historyofinformation.com, it had 100,000 plays and over 90,000 of the people who played it lost. So the computer had about a 90% win rate. Pretty good. From 1940 to 1960, other simple computerized video games were created, simulations of chess, checkers, and casino games such as blackjack. Moving into 1970 was a boom of arcade machines, mainly shooter games, fighter games, and most importantly, Pong. In 1974, Atari released Home Pong, which was the biggest boom of home consoles at the time. This led the way for other lesser-known consoles, such as the Bally Astrocade and the Channel F, both of these massive failures. That was until the Atari 2600 in 1977. According to Andrews UK Limited, the Atari 2600 sold 1.5 million copies in the first 2 years, and then from 1979 to 1980, it sold another 1.5 million, leading to 3 million in 3 years, a massive, unbefore-seen sales. Moving into the 80s, we have what's known as the golden age of gaming. Releases such as the Nintendo Entertainment System and Super Mario Bros. Are absolute classics, along with the Nintendo Game Boy, the first major handheld portable gaming device, and the Sega Genesis, which released Sonic the Hedgehog, which was crappy. In 1991, actually, Nintendo released the Super Nintendo, followed by the 1994 release of the Sony PlayStation 1. In 1994, Nintendo released the Nintendo 64, and in 1998, the Sega released the Sega Dreamcast. All of these evolved from the pre-before 18-bit game systems. The Super Nintendo was now a 16-bit version, which provides more memory. The PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64, and Sega Dreamcast were also 16-bit games, 32-bit games, sorry, and they allowed for more memory and higher quality games. Moving into modern games in the 2000s, the PlayStation 2 was released in 2001, quickly followed by the Xbox original you can't really see them, but the Xbox original in 2002, creating a massive rivalry between the two companies. The PlayStation 2 and Xbox both use 64-bit gaming systems, allowing for massive 3D renderings of worlds and faster RAM processing. In 2005, the Microsoft Corporation released the Xbox 360, another major console, and a year later followed the PlayStation 3. Both of these adding massive enhancements to graphics, memory, and CPU. Another major inclusion in these consoles was the introduction of motion gaming with the Xbox Kinect and the PlayStation's Move. This allowed the human to be the controller, and it allowed people to be more active. Also in the early 2000s was the release of the Nintendo Wii, but I don't like it, so I won't be talking about it. In 2006 and 2007, Nintendo released the Nintendo DS, and Sony released the Sony PSP. These were the newest and most advanced handheld devices at the time, because not many had been created. Nintendo DS featured a touchscreen, and the Sony PSP featured games that were on the PlayStation and that had never been seen before. In 2012 actually, Microsoft releases the Xbox One, followed by the PlayStation 4 in the same year, leading the rivalry into more conflict, separations of nations, as you could say, between the two companies and gamers alike. And in 2017, the Nintendo Switch came out, a revolutionary new console, which features controllers that are slidable into the screen itself, or you can use them on a TV, and it's quite an amazing console. Most modern gaming, though, is done on PCs, such as desktops or laptops. This allows for higher CPU quality and higher graphics and more power. According to ESPN, competitive gaming is one of the most growing markets in the world today, with YouTube and Twitch, video and live streaming platforms able to create massive audiences. According to ESPN as well, of the top 5 most viewed broadcasts in the world, number 1 being the Super Bowl, second follows the League of Legends tournament, third is the Masters, and fourth is the Dota 2 tournament, right ahead of the NBA Finals. But both of these games are absolute garbage. So what's next in the future? What are we looking forward to? Well, first off, we can look forward to advancements in portable gaming. With new technologies making smaller processing chips, we can fit more power into smaller devices. And along with that, we can introduce online gaming in the handheld format, which is not foreseen. We can also look forward to virtual reality gaming. Lots of you know about virtual reality. This is called the Oculus Rift. It was first prototyped, I think, 4 years ago. It's a headset you put on your head, and it puts you in a new world, and you move around, and the camera moves around with you, and if you feel completely immersed. We can look forward to motion capture in bodysuits, which allows you to become the controller, and your vision is also in the world, and so you become fully immersed into a gaming reality. Also is virtual retinal display, which is not quite called virtual reality. It follows the lines of something called augmented reality, which is an overlay of images over what you see. Lots of you know this, like Snapchat filters uses augmented reality essentially. With virtual retinal display, a image is put directly onto your retina, and you see things in front of you as if they're in the real world. Also, we can look forward to graphics that, according to many Chinese gamers, will look like the real world. Today, we talked about the past of gaming and where it came from, and how many consoles failed. We talked about how competitive gaming is taking over, and how much of a growing market that is. And we talked about what we can look forward to in the future with VR. Now, whether you like to be a professional basketball player, or an adventurer, a gladiator, or a warrior, there's sure to be a game out there for you, so go ahead and try it. Thank you.